This is Dan Max, the trading agent. This is a stock trading and recap channel that I wanted to share to the masses. In a probability game, there's no certainty. Here are my insights and predictions.
Hello, everybody. This is Dan Max, aka the trading agent, real estate agent at EXP Realty. It is freaking Tuesday, November 16th, end of day recap. Been a long day. Been busy doing a few things with my mentor, Cody Walker, doing some real estate stuff. All is well. Let's get it started. Bitcoin, cup and handle. Thought if we broke this level, clear below it, 63,000, we might test down here to 57,500. It's looking more obvious that we will. A lot of people are saying, well, Bitcoin will precede any market crash. The volume here is a little bit stronger than normal. If you see last time coming off the high, you had some extended volume, chop, 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 and then another leg. My guess is with this kind of formation here, this higher high, the back test, this is a shakeout. I repeat, I think this is a shakeout in Bitcoin. Now, I wish I could tell you the exact low because I cannot do that. I do not know what person is going to puke the very last share or the very last coin. Anyone who says they can pick exact bottoms and tops all the time is absolutely lying. You should tell them they're a fucking idiot and run away. And keep it that simple. Yeah, I think Bitcoin at 50, whatever I said, 57.5, not probably a bad area to enter. If it came back down to 53.5, I would not be surprised as well. I'll draw some of the other potential support spots that I think we could run into. If you also notice, it's the VAP zone here, meaning this is an area where there's not a lot of volume at price. So there's a lot of people who are bought in here, and a lot of people bought in down below. So if it happened to hold the very bottom of a VAP zone, volume at price zone, that could make sense as an entry near 53,000. Again, I'm not really bearish long term on any pullback in Bitcoin. I don't really see how you can with the US printing 40% of all dollars in US history in the last year. So if Bitcoin is the future, one of the future currencies of the world, then it should be on this uptrend. And it's kind of funny how I actually had this little pullback coming. I thought it might be a little higher and then retest the breakout, but we might be forming a little double bottom. Let me draw out exactly how I think this is gonna look, so people can either think it's hilarious or can say I'm an idiot. But let's draw it out real quick. We're forming a cup. And here is a little W bottom handle to higher prices. Looks like 100,000 area would be a logical next upside target. Let's just roll on. If you're long-term holding, just know your entries. If you're scalping it, just zoom in, know your spots. I don't really day trade very often, and when I do, it's at super verified support, and that's where we get into Roblox, because that was one of my most recent day trades. I showed everybody the double bottom W after the big breakout on earnings. You could have gotten it 93. You saw this area, and now we're up. We hit 120 today. I hope some people start taking profits. You can see into the fib zones, the upper side of the trend line. Did we hit it exactly? Oh man, pretty close. Close enough for government work. 120. I said those were going to be some of the exit levels that you should be looking for if you were been holding, because this is a solid move, almost a double. Take some of your profits, or the markets will. It usually is that simple. But long term, I will be looking for pullbacks to buy, but just keep it simple. You don't have to be an all or nothing trading, or I don't ever promote all or nothing trading, because that is complete gambling. You're assuming you know what's going to happen with full clarity. I've been doing this 20 years, and I still don't always know what's going to happen, so I play probabilities. I play the odds, and if the odds say that it might be going lower or pulling back, then you should take some off. Doesn't mean it couldn't just break out and go higher. What if all of a sudden Microsoft buys Roblox for $140 a share? That is always possible. Keep that in mind. Let's go into EXPI, the EXP stock for the company that I work for and have a lot of friends who are owners of EXPI stock. Anyone who knows me about trading It said when this thing blew up during the pandemic, this was a blow off and it was going to need a digest. Earnings have been great. It's just now digesting a big move. You can see there is a bottom trend line here forming. I would play that. Let me clearing this little trend line up because it ended up not being powerful enough to do anything. Yeah, you got to get over 55. That's the key to higher prices, getting over 55. As an EXP owner, all of this in between is fucking chop, and no one wants to hear it. They've had good earnings, but you had great earnings in August, you pulled back. You had great earnings recently, and it didn't really do much. I think management's doing a great job, but sometimes the stock is what it is. It's a supply-demand game. I mean, unless the EXP sells out, which is going to be hard considering we're the 4th largest brokerage company in the world, it is going to make its own destiny. And, well, let's just say it is waterlogged right now. And I hate to say that, but that's the reality of it. Keep in mind, it went from literally $3 up to 90 and now pulling back. That is normal. When you go up, what is 87 divided by 3 is a big percentage up move. It's going to take a while to digest, and what it was priced at then versus what it is now, with the share dilution and all sorts of factors, just assume that it is not going to go anywhere for a while. If you do have the stock and you're owning it for the long term, have a plan. Hit me up if you need help. I don't mind. Zedala. UUP, the dollar. Talked about this channel once it broke out. Then you could play the up or you could play the down. Well, it broke up. Looks like Turkey's imploding. Looks like there's some currency issues going around the world. And when other currencies are blowing up, what do people buy? They buy dollars. They absolutely buy dollars because as much as our currency is toilet paper, other people's is tissue paper or I don't even know, dirt. It's literally what it is. So people are buying into the dollar. Looks like it's going higher. If you're interested where it's going to be the upside, let's zoom out. Yep, 26. I was thinking that this whole area you can see. I'll draw this for the newer folks, just kind of see how I'm looking at the support resistance. All of these bottoms mattered. And if we get into it, it's an old price. The market has muscle memory. It's going to get tired there. Just keep it that simple. Dollar broke out. It's going a little higher. How much higher? We'll see. Could go a lot higher. Anyway, don't short it. TLT. Bond market getting real interesting. We hit some upper resistance. Talked about pulling back and filling the gaps here. 145. We closed just slightly above it. 145.45. I think this might be some of the lowest prices for the bond market. They might start buying bonds tomorrow. I would not be surprised if this is some sort of, wow, monster head and shoulders pattern. And only I just saw that. Let's just kind of draw it for what it is. A head and shoulders within a head and shoulders. And this is the next shoulder line. It could take time to resolve out, but I could see that playing out. If you don't know what a head and shoulders is, there's a video on such. It's a bottoming formation, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. This area in 145 should be support. If you have questions, again, hit up me and leave it by leaving a comment. Come to the Discord room. There is a link to the discussion for such in the description below. The VIX. Everybody was just not paying attention. We said every time you get down to the 15 level, you got to watch out for volatility spiking. And what did I say? If you watch the last videos, 20-day moving average in red is important. This is a moving average that clearly is acting as support or resistance at times, and it's acting as support. Coming off the lows, we spiked, hit an old trend line. Now we're backed off. This to me looks like the VIX is about to pump maybe. We might have a big move down in the market. Again, I'm not calling a long-term top. I want to see a higher or a lower high, I apologize. But people are buying protection. You can see someone's hedging up here. I don't know if we'll get back up to the 475, but if you are looking to short and you have a long-term horizon and you have plans, $2 from the all-time high of 470, you do the math. That is a pretty good risk reward if you think it could drop down to, say, the 100-day in yellow, 440 range, something like that. There's downside potential. You can see it more in the Qs. Again, I'm not shorting yet. I'd rather be the second mouse that gets the cheese versus the first that gets trapped and doesn't have a successful trade. As we could tell, as we showed about the QQQ wedge, This blue area was resistance. I thought it would get down to the 20-day. Nope, we're bouncing. As you notice, the green up volume is not that strong. There's not a lot of conviction buying this dip at the moment. Currently, the Qs look like a short if they were a pop back to 400. Let's just give it a big round number. Remember, it is OPEX, CHOPEX. They're trying to kill all the options. They're going to pin it to big round numbers. Don't be surprised if you see 400 close on Friday and say, wow, damn, that motherfucker knows what he's talking about. GLD. Oh, what did I say all week? I said this whole downtrend. I said last week, if we're going to get up into this downtrend in here in black, let me just call it what it is and edit it, make it a little thicker so you have no doubt what I'm talking about. This black trend line, the red box, I mean, it's just coming into a whole multitude of resistant points. And when you come into resistance, it's normal for a move to pause. If a move pauses and holds high and tight, it's okay. If it doesn't, then you've got problems. So at this point, you're expecting a pullback potentially in the GLD. How strong, how big, that's the key. Have your stops, have a plan. If it pulls back down to the 166 level, I would not be surprised, because if you get back down into this 166, 167, there's a larger major support from major moving averages. Just keep it that simple. Gold could pull back here. People are selling overseas currency. They'll sell gold sometimes to raise capital because it's so strong. The GDX volume today is kind of shit. Talked about getting over the 200-day, coming into the 0.38 fib. If you don't know what Fibonacci's are, that's in the Back to Basics series as well. Here's another head and shoulders bottom. Called that a couple weeks ago. You should be buying at 31. Nice little run up to 35. Not a bad 12, 13% return pretty quickly. Watch what's going on. If gold pulls back, miners pull back, it all pulls back. Just keep an eye on it. AG, we talked about buying it here against the downtrend line. Nice little pop. It got right into this old box of resistance. As you can see, it goes way the fuck back. I thought maybe the 200-day didn't get there. Now we're pulling back. Obviously, the 20-day is going to be the first support. Keep it simple. Have a plan. Good old KL playing the choppy game up against the old highs. We said this blue zone after the 100-day buy might be a problem. It just looks like a complex W pattern. I'm not really too worried about it. If it pulls back, you should be buying more. Our friend Silver, what do we say? Hit the 200-day. It bounced. It's going to reject. Well, 200-day hit in blue. That moving average is pretty important. If you don't know what moving averages are, that's in the Back to Basics series. Yeah, this moving average 10 held or acted as resistance. We're backing off. The volume really isn't saying anything. It's just choppy. People are selling sometimes just to sell. The volume during OPEX, maybe they try to tie it to a 22, 23 area. That seems very logical. Check the options chain if you don't know what I'm talking about. Come to the Discord room and you will get schooled. X, US Steel, what did I say yesterday? Based on this pullback, I wouldn't be surprised to see the 20-day in the old 20 and 25 area. It is resistance and now a support. Looks fine to me. Drop out the W. You see the W. It's just backing off. Steel prices are going higher. There's no supply. Just keep it simple. AMD told people it might back off. And I wouldn't short it. Said watch out for this trend line. And guess what? We hit it. Let me call it the big red trend line because it is so steep after a big move. If you're not taking profits, the market took them for you. You lost about, you lost almost 10%. Now backing up to it. Now here's where, if you're going to see if this is, remember the second mouse gets the cheese. You either short that trend line or you look for a breakout. It's really that simple. We didn't need to pick the top. We saw a retest. If I see a lower high, you could short it. Again, if you're unsure, come to the Discord room, ask questions, understand why this is a low risk trade. You went from 100 to 155, well actually 156, almost a 56% return. It is normal if it backs off 20, 30%. This area now is acting as the first resistance. If it confirms resistance, it should drop. If it drops and you're shorting, that's a winning trade. It's really that simple. If you think trading has to be that more difficult, then go follow some scam artists and they'll tell you whatever you want to hear. Head and shoulders top here, waiting for them to be invalidated on an Apple. That you can see a downtrend here. Point, 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 point. We need to break over that. Let's just change this to a color that makes it seem more obvious what's going to happen. We need to break over that. That's the start to the green higher highs. And if you break below this downtrend or this channel that's uptrending, this would be your stop. And so we'll label that red. That's the You get below that, it should crash. It gets over this, it should go higher. Again, we're looking for probabilities that are very binary, very simple, high probability if you're correct, and worth the risk. So if a stock breaks a wedge and it breaks out of it, it should go higher considering it consolidated. If it breaks below the wedge, everybody who bought above it is wrong, and that stock should usually follow. MicroStrategy. I hope people had stops. We said we would retest the old high up near 880s. It got there, backed off. I didn't call the top, but I said, you know what? I would watch out for that. I would totally watch out for it. And if you didn't take any up here, or you didn't roll your stops, and you're just back, you're back now below the 20-day. Back at some old chop. Could it retest? Let's just move this because I'd like to incorporate retest the back trend. We could definitely back test this trend before popping, and that's normal. Sometimes you break a downtrend and you back test it. Study long enough the charts, you'll see that's possible. I hate it for people who held it if they didn't sell any when it got up towards 900 because now you're off 150 points. However, if you did take some profits, you have the ability to add back. Just keep it simple. Let's talk about our friend Tesla because here's an example of taking profits and being able to add back. 20 days important. It just went from 550 up to 1250. And if you didn't take any profits, you were a greedy fuck. And you know what? I said just start looking for the fib extensions as potential fail points. Maybe they're watching my videos and the markets are rigged as they say, and they saw like, hey, everyone's going to look for the 2 times range. Let's sell it before that. Well, got pretty close, and then Elon opened his mouth and boom, you lost 10, 15%. 20 per day moving average is key. Notice we closed right at it. You can be bullish if it gets back above it, but I'm warning you now, if you do not clear back over the 20-day, you will see probably the 900s because this is going to be a window, as they call it. See how there's a gap between the closing price and the opening price the next day? That window will likely fill. I would just keep it that simple if you're a Tesla holder for the long term and you think it's getting to 5,000. Well, I'm going to tell you now, it's not going to get to 5,000 in a straight line, so either you need to bury your head and hope it gets there or pray that competition never comes for them and that stock always goes higher because if you started trading like I did in the 90s, you saw a lot of stocks that people thought were going to the moon forever, and ultimately they did not have the propulsion and they crashed back into the ocean. They're still around. Cisco, Qualcomm, Microsoft. They ended up coming back, but it took 16 years for those to make new higher highs. You don't want to hold Tesla for 16 years if it is not going to make higher highs. Just keep it simple. There's other trades out there. Good old PENN Gaming, Mr. Portnoy. Really don't care about his allegations because whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. Today's action was a bear trap. We talked about this in the Discord room. It was a buy. We were buying it, the action. Notice that we did doji today. You can't even see the candle. It's so tiny. If you don't know what a doji is, back to basics series, it's explained in that. Dojis, you can see the intraday action. It looked below and then popped right back up immediately. I like that. If you're buying it, keep in mind, management's buying this dip. Everyone's buying it in the sense of the people that I think who are important. I want to follow whales. I don't give a shit about the news other than it's priced in because the stock dropped on the news and now we're going to see what happens. And it's a very binary trade. Said if you hold the 618, we've closed above it. Even today we had a nice little wick below it. I think you can get back up into 80s. You do the math, 55, 56 to 80, 75 range. That is a nice return. I will take 20% and be done for the quarter if needed, if that trade hits. Boom. XOP. Holding up near the 20-day. I told people I think it's going to be a cold winter. Prices, if the temperatures start cooling off nationally, you will see a demand spike in oil, and unfortunately we're not pumping enough to cover supply. Just keep it that simple. Let's not get political. Hold the 20-day or break out over that trend line. We need to clear this trend channel, and you can flying higher. VALE, Scott, I know you like the stock. We both talked about this. We like it on a dip. Well, you're getting your dip. I'd look for it to fill the gap under 12. Really like it at 1160 because I like stocks to buy low and to sell high. If it could get back to 23 after selling, buying it in the 11s, that's not a bad trade. I will hold that for weeks, months, whatever it takes. Look at the last time it took to run. It did it pretty quickly. It took November to May. I mean, I know that sounds not quickly, but 6 months, and it went from 10 to to 23. I don't know, 130%. Doesn't sound that bad. You know, you could do worse. Good old PAAS. Pan American Silver holding up pretty high and tight. We said it was once it broke this down channel. He back tested at the 50-day. Higher highs, holding up. Nothing really wrong with it. We'll end it on ExxonMobil. Another oil name. Exxon typically leads the patch. And if it's holding 20-day, because keep in mind, Exxon is one of the big dogs. Exxon is the Tesla of oil, if that's a joke and kind of ironic. Leader of that sector. If it holds high and tight here at the 20-day, I mean, you have a big U now consolidating near the breakout. If it breaks out, you see that little area in green that I highlighted. It's old support. I mean, it's so far back. Exxon's been trading since I think 1800s. It's probably the only stock that has survived all of these years without being bought out or just going to nothing. Yeah, get over this big consolidation fucking crap pattern, crap circle. Let's just put a blue. Let's just add more color. Clear that, and you're good to go. All right, this is Dan Max at EXP, a.k.a. the trading agent. I'm getting a lot of comments. People are unsure. They're like, you're talking rocket science here. And guess what? If you don't know the basics, I'm building a Back to Basics series. But also study. Study what I'm saying. Ask questions. Come to the Discord room. If you don't have an answer or, you don't know something, you don't have the answer, just ask somebody. Be humble. Act like you don't know what the fuck is going on. Guess what? People are willing to help you. But if you act like you know what's going on and you really don't, it's easy to see. It's, they say fake it till you make it. Well, guess what? In a education circumstance where it's you against the market, do not fake it till you make it. Have the education to take on the market, because if you were taking on the market alone without education, you are going to be a statistic. You will be the 95% that fail. Don't let that happen. Especially, and when I say 95% of day traders do blow up. Repeat, 95% of day traders blow up. Get some information, get schooled, be humble, open your ears, open your mind. You'll learn something, I promise. I will be in contact with you guys soon. Cheers.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like the content. Also smash the like button, share with your friends, and add a comment. If there's a topic or stock you'd like me to give you insight about, let me know in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer your question. Thanks.